This week we're in Central Florida at our parents' house, where we built our very own skate park in their backyard. And we've literally skated every inch of this property. And this is the story of how it all went down. How we won $10,000, how we met Bam Margera and got invited to his house.
I was like, who in the f are the Derns? They do not stop.
And how we had the world's greatest skateboarding quarantine.
So if you didn't know, it rains a lot here in Florida and we were trying to make use of every single day. So I was like, whatever, today I'm just gonna try and skate in the rain and see what happens. So I was able to do these power slide tricks over here, like power slide up, the disaster.
Back to power slide.
And then I was trying to nose blunt this box while it was wet. This box has seen better days. Don't worry, I'll fix it soon. But yeah, that one was a bit more challenging than I thought. When you're skating on wet skate light, you have to land so centered, and if you're just like slightly off, you just swoop out.
One of the tricks I got Kanaan to do, I had an idea for him to do a nose manual across this box, but purposely press the nose so that it slides since it was so slippery. And I got that idea from watching the old CKY videos. Bam skated at an ice rink and did that.
Yeah.
And when the morning of the warnings pass, the gas and plastic kids are flung across the stage.
And I always thought that looked so cool, like just to purposely press your nose.
So that goes to show you, wet skate light is just as slick as ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was surprised they didn't use that one. It was, it was only in the raw edit. There was like a few tricks they didn't use that I was surprised they didn't. Another one, I nose grind and ollie flip this flat bar, and that didn't get used.
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
Since they never used that nose press or nose scrape, I later on did kickflip nose scrape.
This thing's seen better days, but I found the tube that I hippie jumped through.
Oh my, it just needs pumped back up.
Yeah, so yeah, we had the photographer Stephen Knight over here, so I was like, hey, you wanna help me land a trick? I had him stand over here out of frame and push the inner tube so it would roll, and we had to time it. The hardest part was just the timing, where he rolled it and I dropped in 50-50 across the ledge and then hippie jumped over the tube. And you know, I like all the out of the box creative tricks. That one I think turned out really good. And I know all three of us pushed ourselves to land tricks that we had not done before for this edit.
This is my doing here. This is like a shower rail of like a public bathroom or something, but I ended up looking at it. I was like, dang, we can do something creative with this. I looked at the tree and I was like, all right, tree rail, here we go. My favorite thing to do on it, we got in the edit, is to ollie up, nose press, yank out.
One of the sketchier tricks is when Dalton and I were doing doubles and I ollie north over him while he grinded on right here on the skate light.
1, 2, 3.
But just to get the timing on that right was very sketchy. I was afraid I was going to take off his head. I definitely popped higher than I normally would when I would just skate this thing.
I went lower than I possibly could.
Yeah, he grinded and ducked.
Did you guys do that twice for 2 angles?
I think so, yeah. And then after that, I did probably my favorite trick in the video. I did the alley-oop grind right here.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I got a lot of good feedback for that one, but that was like one of the scariest tricks.
You took a slam on that one too.
Yeah, wasn't
not
too bad.
too gnarly, but
Yeah, I just slipped off and
people are always confused on why it's an alley-oop, but it's because you were popping behind the coping and then landing and going in this way.
yeah.
So it's the opposite way you turned.
For this, I guess it was more straight on, but I always call it an alley-oop grind. But yeah, 180 switch 50, whatever you want to call it.
I got a switch air over this thing. I was stoked on that. I did rock to fakie, and then I pumped as fast as I could and made it in there.
You also did a mute 360, right? I'd only seen you do the melon 360 before that.
Oh, I think the melon 360 is cooler, but I feel like I have that actually as comfortable as the
Yeah,
melon.
the mute was sick. I don't see you do that one as much.
I don't know the real name of this. I asked Bam, he said it was called a whirly bird because he used to do them a lot. But anyways, I did the 360 pop shove it with the tail grab trick.
Some people call it a tail whip.
Yeah, that's what I like to call it, a tail whip. I battled that for a couple days trying to land that. I remember my shoe flew off during one.
Nice.
I finally got the make, so I was pretty stoked on that one.
Once I got comfortable doing power slides on the ramp, I had this idea like, let's take every single piece of skate light we have and see how far I can power slide. And then I just kept making it like crazier and crazier. We added the rail at the end so I could go power slide all the way to board slide.
Oh, damn it.
That was one of the more challenging clips in the video. I actually did it like a couple times for like 2 different angles.
Two angles, and there was that one where your wheels caught the grass and you knocked the wind out of yourself.
I caught the grass, and normally I put my arms in front of me, but I didn't get this arm in front of me, and I landed right here on my ribs. I bruised my ribs right here and got the wind knocked out of me. That one sucked.
In my opinion, the whole time we were filming, there was only 3 gnarly slams, and they all belonged to you, and that was one of them.
Yeah, that was one of them.
We'll talk about the other 2 when we get there, but that you knocked the wind out of yourself, and you just lied on the ground for at least like a full minute, like not able to breathe.
I was putting my arms above my head, struggling, like, come on.
Yeah, you went all the way to the tree over here.
If we had more skate light, I would have gone further, but that was literally every single sheet we had. That skate light came from a mini ramp that was like under trees. So it had all this algae on it that made it perfect for power sliding. Like, I didn't use soap or anything, even though a lot of people thought I did.
Yeah, we just added water and it was good to go.
Yeah, the first one I did, I landed and rolled straight off the wood, but the second one I landed, I came off early and right into the tree. I was just like over it at that point. It was so hard to do.
And I was on a ladder filming above and you just looked up at me, I remember.
Yeah. So yeah, I was trying to fakie frontside flip the kicker gap, and I would have to carve this thing switch. And I had already done it like 50 times. And then one time I went up a little too high and my truck caught the coping. So it just made me grind and go even further. And I was like, oh no. And then I came in right here. I tried to abort and bail, and I just nailed my hip right into the corner here, like right here.
Are you all right?
Yeah. And that was probably the worst slam, like pain-wise, during the whole filming of the thing. I took the rest of the day off, and then I was very conscious not to carve too high on this quarter pipe, but I was trying to get as much speed as I could because I wanted to make the fakie frontside flip look good as possible.
I mentioned it earlier that there was 3 gnarly slams all by you, and that was definitely one of the other 3.
Yeah, a lot of times when I get hurt, I just start running, and I remember getting up and just running that way. When I landed the fakie frontside flip though, by that time I had the switch carved down. I remember I did the full cab first try.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, how did I just land that first try?
Yeah, this was a leap for sure. I always thought about airing over this thing, so we set up this little skinny bank right here, and I just went full speed, held on, and hoped that I landed in there.
Over the fence.
I think I got that one first try.
You came from over there, and you didn't even know where the ramp was, so I remember putting this sticker up.
Oh, that's why that's there?
That's why this is here. I put this sticker here, and I was like, aim for the sticker, and go over the fence right here, and then you'll land in the ramp.
Even looking at it now, if you had a bank down there, I'd be like, where do we go?
Yeah. The first trick I did for the edit, I did caveman finger flip lip slide down this rail.
Geez, how did I grind this?
This is one of the craziest things that you did for the video.
I've always loved tall bump to boxes. At Lakeland Skate Park, they have this tall bump to box there.
Yeah, big boy.
I was like, how can I make something like that here? Also, a big inspiration was the Birdhouse video. At the end, Heath Kirchart and Jeremy Klein using ramps up. They skate like a launch ramp to shed. Which I didn't want a launch ramp, I'm like a bank ramp. So we have this skinny kicker over here that I did like the full cab and fakie frontside flip on. Took that over here, and then another complication was I can't come in at this angle to hit that. I had to make like a little down ramp right here and put a bunch of sheets of skate light right there to line it up good. And then it would almost like, just how I was, it still didn't have enough kick. So I had to put like a 4x4 under the ramp to like boost it up a little more, but that made the kink so harsh. So some tries when I would like try and skate it, I'd go too fast and it would like jolt me and I couldn't get up there. So I had to find like the perfect speed for it to work. But obviously I didn't skate it like that. I put a piece of coping up there and a 2x6 behind it, and then just screwed the 2x6 down and then screwed the coping to it to be able to make it grind up there. This crack right here is so bad, like there's no way you could land and roll away. So I had to put 2 sheets of skate light down right here to be able to roll away on this. But I feel like on some of them I might have like cleared it.
Oh, remember we had the bush right here too. There was a bush the whole entire time growing up. We lived at this house. There was always a bush here. And you tried it with the bush the first night we skated this.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, maybe it'll be funny. I can just like land it and go straight into the bush. But I swear it was like I would land and the bush was immediately there. I was like, there's no way I can like do that.
So we told our parents, like, hey, we got to remove this bush. I know it's been here our whole life, but this is important.
It's funny because Mom was like, no, Dad's going to get mad if you take out that bush. And then like Dad was like, no, Mom's going to be mad if you take out that bush. And finally we got them both together like, can we take out this bush? And they're like, oh yeah, I thought you would care. Like, oh no, I don't care.
Yeah, our dad was just like, yeah, whatever.
He tried to do it with those shrubs and then eventually took out a couple, and then eventually all the shrubs had to come out. And Mom came out and said, where's the shrubs? And I go, don't worry, we'll plant them back. We never did.
Yeah, by the time we were done with the video, that thing had just like
Well-
died. So on one of the first attempts, I didn't think I was gonna catch this wire like it, because it seems like it's a little far out. And they kept convincing me like, no, you're not gonna hit that. But for how fast I had to go, I clipped my hand on it and it made me slip back. So on like one of the first back 50 tries, yeah, I ended up in the bush. All right, we got to move that. And then finally I was able to fully go for it. And then I clipped my arm on that wire that everyone convinced me there's no way I'm gonna hit that.
Cut that fucking cord!
So I had to get up here. I taped the wire to the top wire up there. And everyone was freaking out, don't touch it, you're gonna get electrocuted. So I was definitely being super careful not to get electrocuted. By the time we had it set up, it was night, so we lit it up. So I got the back 50 and then the crook that night.
My God, how the hell did he do that?
That was perfect, and now we get to stop. Well, that was pretty impressive, but I want to be done now. What are you doing now?
I was filming.
And then I tried a couple backsmiths, but I was already so tired, and I was like, I'm just gonna do this one in the daytime. But little did I know how hard it was gonna be, because it took me 3 more sessions, so a total of 4 sessions till I landed that backsmith. I only tried it for like 30 minutes that first night, but then the next 3 days I tried it for like 2 hours each, and I don't know why it was so hard to do. I think because since the roof is slanted down this way, I had to really like be dipped in pushing to make the backsmith stay up there.
Many of these skate tricks they can do more quickly, but that one seemed to take several days. I almost feel like Kanaan tried it 100 times before he finally landed it.
Finally, on the 4th day, the Amazon delivery driver pulls up and he's like, "Oh, are you skating? Let me see something cool." I'm just like, all right, here it goes. And of course, that try, I landed it, and I look back and he's just like, "That was cool." But he probably had no idea how hard that was, how many days that took to do. And of course, he arrives.
Randomly shows up to deliver a package and sees the one try that he got to make. You can see him in the back of the footage.
Yeah, honestly, he gave me motivation to do it that try. Like extra motivation. I was trying my hardest every time, but the little extra incentive, like, all right, let me see if I can show this Amazon delivery driver what's up.
Yeah!
Hallelujah! Amen! Finally! Yes!
And I told him after about 3 days, I said, "Kane, maybe you better move on from this one." But you know, these guys, they once they get it in their mind, they're gonna stick to it. And finally, I was there when he landed it, and you know, it was pretty cool. But boy, the pain that he went through for that, you know.
We were so relieved when you finally did it, because it was getting to the point we didn't think it was going to happen. I thought you were going to give up.
Yeah, my dad was even telling me, like, give up on it, move on to something else. You guys, like, you have plenty of ideas. But I was trying to make the video as good as possible, and I really wanted to get that one.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights of the video.
Yeah.
And it got like the cover photos.
Yeah, I had Stephen Knight come out and shoot a photo of that one. The hardest part was just like coming out of it with that big of a drop. I've never came out of a backsmith before with that much drop.
Yeah.
Ever since we had the fire pit, I always wanted to skate over it. One time I rigged up some ramps and I got a back 3 over it for Instagram. Then I wanted to recreate that, make it a little better.
We had Kanaan pour the gasoline, got the fire going right before each try. And I actually skated that one with you. I did airwalk.
Yeah, that was sick.
And then you did the back three. Took a slam on it too.
Oh, bitch, I missed the ramp.
Yeah, the landing was really slippery too, all that oil and everything.
Yeah, I remember I got hurt that day. I wanted to skate it, but you guys were the only ones that skated over the fire.
Yeah.
I just let you guys have it.
It was fun.
During the quarantine, we were watching a lot of our old skate videos, and I remember we put on the DC video, and watching Danny Way's part inspired me to build this street style mega ramp where I just ollied all the way to flat. That was right around the time we all got our stimulus checks and we went to Home Depot and bought a bunch of wood. Thankfully before like the wood prices shot up. Yeah, so it took a little while to build it.
You got this idea that you wanted to do a quarantine video out in the backyard. And I was okay, you know, at first, and then all of a sudden we're building ramps to go off the roofs. But then I came home one day and Kanaan's built this monstrosity like a Danny Way type ramp. I was like, oh my God, this is getting ridiculous, this is getting insane.
I walked out and said, what are you guys doing now? So for several days while I'm cooking in the kitchen, I can hear all this noise pounding on the roof.
I remember the first time I went from the very top, I ollied in, and I was just terrified of this wall. I knew I was gonna clear it, but it was still scary. I think I had the ramp like right here. And one time I just like, all right, I'm gonna go in and like run off into the grass, but I was going so fast I ended up going up the ramp a little, and I remember like trying to get this way, and I like landed like this, and I tried to jump, but I hit my shin like up like this right here. I cut my shin open.
And then Stephen Knight, which is a good friend there who's a photographer, he was there, and everybody was kind of real quiet. And I drove up and I go to Stephen, I said, Stephen, what's going on? He goes, well, this is pretty intense. Kanaan got hurt. And I said, oh, great. It was pretty stressful watching that.
Well, we talked earlier about your 3 gnarly slams. That was the other one. I think that's the gnarliest because you literally cut your shin open.
Yeah.
Like it was bleeding really bad.
That one didn't hurt as bad though.
That's surprising.
I think maybe because my adrenaline was going. I remember when I hit that hubba over there with my hip, I think because it was a sharp corner, that hurt the worst. My adrenaline was going at that point. I even tried another after that, and I actually was trying to 180 it that day. But we didn't even include that because I didn't get it, and that gave me like a gnarly heel bruise. I'm over it. It hurts too bad.
Dude.
We got insane footage either way.
For one of the takes, before we pushed the ramp back as far as it could go, we didn't use this one because you made the gap bigger.
Yeah.
But Dalton drove my car in between the ramp and the basketball court.
Yeah, and I ollied over it. And then I was just like, oh, I could 180 over it too. But then I was just like, I just went viral for 180ing over a car as the Joker. I don't want to be known as this guy that just 180s over cars all the time. So I was like, forget that idea.
I remember I was sending all the footage to the barracks and you're like, don't include the car one. I'm like, why? It's so sick. And you're like, dude, I don't want that. It's like one of the only clips we didn't send him. But then you pushed the ramp back further too and got it with a bigger ollie. So
I went as far as I could go. And I still could have made it come back further, but I just wanted to have enough flat to where I felt comfortable going that fast and then awing, but I probably could have pulled it back even like 8 more feet and still cleared.
I don't know what's crazier, the drop in to get to that or just the gap.
Yeah, that was definitely the scariest thing I did, was being all the way up there and the
top ropes.
I had to tighten my trucks so much. It was literally, I made a mega ramp board for that.
You guys skate on this roof all the time, but to take it to the second story roof, that's a whole nother level, the top ropes.
Yeah, I think because I did that first one where all I did was the kicker and then jumped to the 180 to the basketball court, I was just trying to step it up from there because like we had already put that out before we even started filming for the quarantine video. That's definitely like the fastest I've ever gone here at the house. So yeah, like a few weeks went by and then I was just like, yo, we're trying to make this thing like really good, and he kept asking me like, how's it going, is that it's coming along, and I'd send him clips here and there and he was getting hyped, and then I was like, oh yeah, and we like had a couple injuries, some heel bruises that's like been delaying progress. Like I bruised my heel on the mega ramp thing trying the 180, which I never ended up getting. We just used the ollie.
The most angry I've probably ever seen my dad.